Large ultra-wide gaming monitors are nothing new, but the AOC AG352UCG has a particularly intriguing combination of features. Its curved 35-inch screen uses an MVA LCD panel instead of IPS, which allows it to claim a contrast ratio that's double that of most of its competitors. Plus it has a proper large monitor resolution. Several 34 and 35-inch monitors are only 2560 by 1080, but here you get 3440 by 1440 pixels, making it much more practical and sharper looking. What's more, this display can also refresh at up to 100 Hz and includes G-Sync. It's quite a combination, and as such it demands quite a price too. However, at around £800 or $800 it's noticeably cheaper than its main rival, the Acer Z35P, as well as the similar Acer X34 and Asus PG34-8Q. So is this the best of the bunch? Well, let's take a look. First things first, AOC has done a decent job with the overall design, though the particularly chunky bezels mean this display lacks the sleekness of the PG34-8Q and X34. However, the silver metal stand and rear contrast nicely with the black plastic of the rest of the build, and the curve of the stand in particular is rather fetching. It's just a shame AOC went with glossy black for the frame, plus the rather dull painted on AOC logo cheapens the overall look. Not really helping things are the lights that AOC has added to the underside of the monitor. As these things go, they don't look too bad, but they do make the bottom bezel even thicker and would be too distracting for my liking. Elsewhere, the AG352UCG largely delivers though. The stand includes height, rotation and tilt adjustment, and has a chunky handle at the top that makes it easy to move the monitor around. You miss out on the ability to pivot the display into portrait mode, but this is fair enough on a screen this size. Meanwhile, if you'd rather use your own monitor stand, there's a set of standard VESA mounting points. As with all G-Sync displays, connectivity is limited to just two inputs, with one each of DisplayPort and HDMI. But you also get headphone and microphone ports, and there's a USB hub. Intriguingly, AOC has chosen to use a micro USB 3 uplink port, rather than a conventional chunky USB port. The cable is included in the box, but it just seems like an odd choice. You also miss out on any USB ports on the side of the monitor, though AOC's signature flip-down headphone holder is present and as useful as ever. All told, there's enough here to keep the AG352UCG competitive with its rivals, though nothing really to put it ahead of them. What's more, trying to navigate this monitor's on-screen display drags it behind. On first impression, things look good, as AOC has used a little joystick control for navigating it. However, while this works wonders for the Asus PG34-8Q, here the controls don't work in an intuitive manner. That is, once you're in one of the menu options, adjusting it is always done by pushing the joystick forward or back, i.e. up or down, even if the option on screen seems to indicate that you should move left or right. You sort of get the hang of it, but it never quite feels like second nature. At least the menus themselves offer an ample selection of options, and moreover, it's not like you need to change much anyway. Adjust the brightness to your liking and you can pretty much use this monitor as is. That's because just about every image quality criteria of this display is near perfect right out of the box. Colour balance is excellent, gamma is nearly spot on, sRGB colour space coverage is very good, and overall colour accuracy is top notch too. You can make things look even better by switching from the warm colour preset to the user colour preset and adjusting the RGB values. However, the difference is small enough that most users shouldn't worry about it. Aside from the colour accuracy, this display's pièce de résistance is its contrast. Because VA LCD panels can inherently produce deeper black levels than IPS or TN, you get a much better contrast figure. This gives a real richness and depth to the image, which makes this display particularly good for sitting back and watching video. I say sitting back because this is one of the slight downsides with VA panels. Their viewing angles just aren't quite as good as IPS. In particular, you get a more noticeable difference in black level from the top of the screen to the bottom when sat at a normal viewing distance of around 50 cm. Move back to around a metre away though, and this is greatly reduced. And in fact on this monitor, this effect is less noticeable than on some other VA displays I've seen, but it is still there. What's more, when it comes to gaming, we come up against the other disadvantage of VA displays, which is a slow response time. AOC claims 4 milliseconds, which is the same as rival IPS screens, however there's still noticeably more ghosting here. This can be slightly improved by adjusting the overdrive setting, but overall it's still not quite as crisp. Nonetheless, despite this slower response time, the monitor still offers a good gaming experience overall. The bump up to 100 Hz does help it feel more responsive than 60 Hz displays, and G-Sync works perfectly for smoothing out tearing and stutter. Incidentally, unlike some other displays, cranking the refresh rate up from 60 Hz to 100 Hz doesn't significantly affect image quality. So all told, this display has impressed me more than I expected. previous fast refresh gaming monitors with VA panels have tended to disappoint because of their response time issues, unless they use a strobing backlight like the Samsung CHG90. But the AG352UCG is fast enough to feel like a noticeable upgrade over 60Hz displays. Add in the fantastic overall image quality, decent feature set and slightly cheaper price than its rivals, and it really has a lot going for it. That said, given the choice, I would probably still go with the Acer X34 or Asus PG348Q, as they both have slightly better gaming performance, more consistent viewing angles and slimmer bezels. But if high contrast is more important to you, then the AG352UCG is a good option.